Thank you for taking the time. I'm going to say good evening. Do I have the time zone correct?
Yes, it's good evening here. Yeah, that's true. So it's noon where you at, right?
Exactly. Noon here in New York, where hopefully you're going to come on your world tour.
That would be great. Yeah, I it's very possible that we're gonna do that.
Sure. So you've got this big 40th anniversary tour ultimately coming up, the new record in a couple of weeks. How long has the record been done for?
Oh man, we started um writing after the last tour, and we started recording in October last year.
Hmm.
So October 24, we started recording the album with starting with drums and guitars, and then we've we've we finished the album around March this year, I would say.
Wow. Okay. Looks like you're talking to me from a studio. Was any of this done in your studio?
I recorded, it's my home studio here, and I was recording all my solos and a couple of overdubs. That's the stuff I do here all the time. But most of the times, we serve time in southern Germany for drums
Hmm.
and the basic guitars, and then we went to Tenerife to Andy's studio in Spain, and then there we recorded the rest. And yeah, so it's a lot of
Wow.
patchwork. Yeah,
Yeah, that sounds like four or five different studios that were used besides
it's
mixing
a
and mastering.
exactly. Marcus was recording his bass in a studio in Hamburg, and yeah, so and then mixing was done in the Netherlands,
Wow.
and mastering here in Germany. Yeah, so we used a lot of personnel for doing all that. Yeah.
Yeah, that I just heard different countries, not just four or five studios, but four or five
Right,
countries
right,
as
right,
well.
exactly. Yeah, it's also
Hopefully
because
there's
we don't live in the same town, we live in different places all over Europe. So and so we need to find studios where we can meet at and record stuff. Yeah.
when you joined the band almost 25
Mhm.
years ago, was everyone split up in different locations like that, or is that more
Yeah,
recent
yeah.
years?
It was always that way. And Andy and Vicky, they lived in Spain already by that time. And Marcus was in Hamburg, and I was in southern Germany by then. And then later on, I moved to Berlin. And yeah, so we always lived in different places. Yeah.
And then you also have your success with photography and fashion, which a lot of that happens around Italy, I believe, correct? So you go between
No,
Germany
no,
and
no,
Italy?
no, no, no. It happened in Berlin around the year 2009 to 2012. So I'm not actively working there anymore, but just because everything got so busy.
Hmm.
But around that time, Berlin became kind of a new spot for the German fashion scene. So like we had the Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week here in Berlin
Yeah.
for a couple of years. And so that was the time where I was heavily working on the photography side, yeah. And so yeah, and then we went over to do like portrait photography and filmmaking and stuff like that. But that's all on the side. Like music is keeping me so busy these days.
Yeah, well, where my mind is going with that is Helloween has been successful since the beginning in Japan, and this new single,
Hmm.
This is Tokyo, happens.
Hmm.
And I think the average person thinks of Helloween as this German band, yet the reality
Hmm.
is it is one of the most international bands on the planet between where you
Hmm.
record, where everyone lives, and where you're
Hmm.
touring. There's almost nothing
Yeah.
German about the band in 2025.
Yeah, that's true. I would understand ourselves as world citizens. So that's how liberal as we see the world. Like
Sure.
so it's yeah. Well, and it also comes down to because we have fans all over the world, and we travel there and tour and so yeah, it's we're very international. It's a very international mindset within the band. Yeah.
When you joined the band almost 25 years ago, did you know how long it was going to be for, or did they just go finish this tour, finish this album?
I didn't even know that I would join the band actually. So it was like in the beginning it was Vikey telling me that they're wanting to do an album, and if I want to, I could write a couple of songs and could join in the studio, and so they actually, to this day, they never asked me to join. It was like just I happened to end up there. It was suddenly there was a photo and video shoot, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm in the band. So that's it. Kind of evolved to that. It was like just we got to know each other, and then we were like, okay, let's do an album together and see where this is going. So. And
Yeah.
then it ended up me staying there for over 20 years. So yeah.
A
And
lot of times,
nowadays,
oh, sorry to interrupt you there. A lot of times when new members join famous bands, like I remember when Korn added some new members in the early 2000s, they made those new guys wear masks on stage so you didn't know who
mm,
they were. But Helloween pretty much put you out front from the beginning.
yeah, and that's funny enough because by that time, I was out of the metal scene. I don't do the t today anyways, but back in the day, I didn't even look like a metal guy either. I was 25 years young, and I was like starting producing and
Yeah.
and and going into a totally different direction, because for me, I was like at the point where I was like done with the metal scene. For me, it was like by that point, but by that time I was like, okay, I've seen it, I've done it, and now I do something else, creatively. And then I got the call. So, and then it was like, okay, I'm 25 years old. This is a legendary band, and I'm going to have the chance to record an album with them, and then later on going on tour and stuff. So it was like, yeah, mind blowing, that everything. And then I was suddenly back in the metal scene again.
Yeah.
And it's funny because you said, because they were presenting me as the person I was. So because I didn't have long hair anymore and all this stuff which I had before. I was like the metal dude before, and they, even if it's although it's an old school metal band, they didn't care. They was like, okay, we don't care how he looks. So we just want to play with this guy. So it was kind of interesting. Yeah.
I read that one of your earliest guitar influences was Steve Lukather from Toto. So
Yeah.
when you almost thought that you were done with metal, were you thinking of going more back to jazz fusion?
Yeah, I always had a big heart for jazz rock and fusion. That's true. And yeah, that kind of way, and also because I like to sing, and I'm a big sucker for synthesizer and electronic music. Like before I
Mhm.
started playing guitar, I liked 80s pop and new wave music. So I was always fascinated by electronic music, from back then. And I was about to form my own project, something like that. And Halloween just came in between, and it was soaking me back into being like a rock and metal guitar player.
So this current band, you have to play a lot of notes, and when you're a jazz fusion guy, you
Hmm.
play a lot of notes. Are you
Mm.
able to ever tone it back so that it's just three or four chords in a song and no shredding?
Absolutely. I mean, I have to say that's what I tell a lot of people, and then I see the question marks above their heads, because I'm always keep saying that I stopped being a guitar player in my early 20s. And they're like, yeah, but you're a guitar player in your band. I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, I know, but it's for me, guitar playing is a tool to serve the song. I always wanted to be an artist. Like when you're young, when you start out learning an instrument, of course, it's all about the instrument. Like
Hmm.
like all the kids now you see on YouTube playing the guitar, they're it's so focused on the guitar playing. And
Yeah.
that's natural because you learn the instrument, and it's you have to have the focus on there to become really good, at what you're doing. But when you grow up as a musician, or that's at least what I would suggest to musicians is,
To grow up.
think about the song, and
Yeah.
and and I could even could compose songs without guitar solos and stuff. It's not, for me, a guitar solo is not the most important. It never was, actually, not even when I started out playing guitar. It was like, I was like, okay, rhythm guitar is something that you would play like to 98% of a song probably. and then you have this little solo part where you play a guitar solo. So I always liked like great rhythm guitar players as well, you know. And then the shredding part that was just out of yeah, being full of testosterone and young, you know, just you want to having the skill set, you know, and you
Yeah.
discover like all these like 80s shredders like Ingrid Malmsteen and for me it was Michael Schenker as well and stuff like that.
Sure.
And Luke can shred as well, you know. And so
Yes, he can.
you yeah, you're influenced by that and you want to know how to do that, but for me, it was always the music, you know. I was a singer before I was a guitar player, and I was a keyboard player before I was a guitar
Yes.
player. So very likely multi-instrumentalist. So for me, it was always the song and the music, and guitar playing is a tool that is providing um, my place in the band, you know.
Yeah. So behind you, I see a couple of keyboards, and reading up on you, I
Mhm.
know you started off on keyboard before you played guitar. Anything, has there been anything that you've written for Helloween that started off as a piano or keyboard based riff?
Of course, yeah. That's how I typically would write. You know, like
Oh,
for me, it's always like write on with an instrument, either the guitar or a keyboard. I would create some. Everything starts for me with sound design. Basically, I create a sound, and then you know, with the guitar, you would play a riff or whatever, and with synthesize the same thing. I play a couple of chords and I do some sound design, and then it starts to inspire me. You know,
mhm.
and when it starts to kick in to inspire me, then I would start to sing, you know, so I would play and sing. And it could be an instrument with my voice, and then it could evolve to become a song, you know. And for instance, on the last album, we had a song called Best Time.
Hmm.
That was actually more on the electronic pop side before that. And then I translated it to the guitar, you know, it was more a synthesizer riff that I was playing and singing, you know. And then I thought it's actually a nice hook, and I thought it could really translate well if you put that on guitar, you know. So sometimes it happens, and a song is a song, you know. If it's a well laid out song, you can put that almost in any direction, you know.
A song is a song. Well, two quick questions, then I'll let you go. And the
Mm,
first question is, when I think of Halloween, and one of the random things I think about is the wrestler Chris Jericho because he named himself after a Halloween song, named one of his
hmm.
finishing moves
He's a
after.
good dude. He's a good dude. I know him.
So I was curious, if Halloween saw a rise in fandom, in popularity, if it got a lot of new fans because of Jericho being so high profile like that and talking to a new audience that may not have been old enough to know
Mm,
Halloween
mm.
originally.
I actually I think it's really nice that he and like you're talking about him, and he's not only promoting Halloween alone. He loves music, you know, and I noticed that he's promoting a lot of bands because he just likes them, and I find it pretty authentic of him to promote stuff that he likes, and I would do the same thing, you know, like like I said, like I wouldn't sit there and going going there full of cliches and interviews and telling you, yeah, of course I love Metallica and stuff like that. No, I mean, I can easily say that I was listening to Depeche Mode and Chicago and Toto when I was a kid, you know,
Hmm.
and there's no problem with that. And when I discover newer stuff, I would promote it as well. I think that's the beauty of it. That's that would tell people what you like, and he does that very well, you know. I know he's a huge Kiss fan, you know. He was
Yeah.
like promoting that. I mean, not that Kiss needs any promotion, but you know what I mean. So it's nice that he loves the music, you know.
Yeah, I forgot I was wearing a Kiss shirt with the illegal German logo. I apologize on behalf of
Yeah, yeah.
to Germany. Yeah,
But
I'm sorry about that. But my last question,
mhm.
for you as a fan, what's the last concert that you went to for fun, not just because you were going to come on stage?
Oh, uh, I must think because I don't go to so many shows. But I think the last show I went to was Canadian band called Saga.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So also something that I'm connecting my youth with, you know.
It always comes back to Prague and good music for you. Well,
Yeah.
thank you for taking the time and looking forward to the world tour. Congrats on the new record.
Thank you, man.
And
See you around.
Paltrocast.